Greetings Internet, Didier here, and welcome to another deck profile video Random Number Gaming is bringing you. This time, it's an upgraded version of my previous deck. This time, we're running Jabba Dooku. I actually ran this yesterday at the 40-man Highlander Games Store Championship all the way to victory, finishing record as 9-2. Honestly, the reason I play this deck is because I love it. It's so freaking fun to play. It has like 5 modes of victory. It can mill you out, it can do damage, it can Crime Lord, it can ace in the whole Crime Lord, while overall just being super control-y. So without further ado, let's check out this list. So I am just in love with this deck. It is controlled aggression to the T. It runs tons of removal, tons of control cards, enough mill to use it as like a secondary win condition. And you might be wondering, if you follow my channel, I did run Ventress in here instead of Dooku. And the reason I switched is literally just because of Poe. Poe Maz is so relevant in the meta right now. And with Ventress, the matchup is unwinnable. With a 9 health character without any defense, she just died to thermals before I could even do anything. They wouldn't even need to focus Ventress in order to kill her. Palpatine would be the same way, but with this character, I can actually discard either dead cards or cards I don't really need in that round to shields and keep Dooku alive, while I can buff him up and place ridiculous upgrades on him, while Jabba is controlling and threatening Crime Lord. So now let's go over the upgrades. So these are the upgrades that we're playing with. We actually have a lot of upgrades in the deck, 17 upgrades. So starting off here with Crime Lord, this is the whole point of the deck. This is a Crime Lord deck. I win over half of my games involving 1 Crime Lord, sometimes 2, and seldomly 3 Crime Lords I can get off in a single game. But usually those are games that I'm actually playing Crime Lord on Jabba. Of course, I'm gonna stress this point, you only play Crime Lord on Jabba when they are not focusing Jabba, because there's no way, unless you have fast hands and unless the stars align, there's no way that you're gonna activate Crime Lord while taking damage and you know, Jabba is dying quickly. So that's what Ace in the Hole is for. You can Ace in the Hole Crime Lord, discard it to roll Crime Lord into your dice pool, and then usually I do that at the end of the round after they had claimed. I don't typically Ace in the Hole unless my opponent has like no cards in hand or has already claimed, or if I want to be really risky, I can just go for it as long as they have no resources. But that is a risky play, and I don't like doing it too much. But just a great card. I built my deck around this card. Love it, love it, love it. Mind Probe is in here. It's a great damaging card, and I know a lot of people think the special is kind of lackluster, and I would agree. A lot of times, you know, with people action cheating and things like that, playing a lot of cards from their hand, FN, Rey, and Poe, a lot of times you're only going to get 2 or 3 damage off of this special, sometimes 0. But this card is in your deck for 2 reasons. For damage, that 3 for 1 side is actually really easy to use in this deck, but also it controls very well too. It has a 2 disrupt side and a 2 discard side, which just fits so nicely with Jabba's and Dooku's 2 discard sides. So Force Throw here, not much to say about this card. It's amazing. It's great for control. Just spectacular control card. The thing that I love doing with this, and it makes it 10 times better, is Datapad. You can actually resolve special Datapad into Force Throw special and Force Throw then after that. And I actually won one of my, I want to say it was either the top 4 match or one of the final rounds of Swiss by doing that. I was facing Luke and he rolled well, and that was my only answer to his 3 damage side. Saved myself 3 damage from that. Lightsaber, I got some messages from people who saw my list. They were like, was Lightsaber good? You know, I feel like it's a little bit too taxing. Lightsaber is amazing, and honestly, if I named one card that was the MVP, besides Crime Lord, obviously, because that's the whole point of the deck, but Lightsaber would be my MVP card. Like, it's just ridiculous. The 3 for 1 is so easy to do. It's got a +2, great on Dooku. And the redeploy is the main thing about this card. So you can throw maybe an upgrade on Jabba, like they're focusing Jabba. 9 times out of 10, they're going to focus Jabba. You can throw an upgrade on Jabba like Blackmail or something else like a Datapad or whatever. And then right when they're about to kill Jabba, just replace whatever upgrade you have on Jabba with lightsaber and just get a free lightsaber on Dooku. That's actually how I won, I think, the finals match. And I just got Dooku up to ridiculous proportions with that redeploy. So great card, just so much damage with this card. You can Datapad refocus for damage with this card. It's just so good. So Hunker Down is the next card, and I actually replaced Personal Shield in my deck with Hunker Down. And the main reason for that is not that there's less melee in the meta, because there isn't. There's a lot of melee in the meta right now. But the main reason is to save resources. Because I found myself not wanting to spend 2 resources on solely defense, purely defense. And then even further with that, Personal Shield has a 3 shield for 1 resource side. So it was very, very resource costly. And I just couldn't afford it in this deck. I needed to focus my resources on Crime Lord and on offense, not on defense. So I added in the Hunker Down. This card is pretty much going to get you 2 to 3 shields every single game, every single time you play it. Holocron can't go wrong. Some people had messaged me and said that I should probably add Makashi training into this deck, and I definitely think that's a good idea. It's another Holocron target. It goes great with Dooku, with all his 2 melee sides. You know, you got all those modded sides on the Makashi training. But even further, it helps you against Vibra Knife. I think it's a good idea. But again, I like the Mind Probe for the control element, and you know, another big reason why you play lightsaber is because you can actually play lightsaber on Jabba and do damage with Jabba. Now, there was a game I remember in one of my Swiss games. I killed one character via damage, and the last character had 2 HP left, and I could not kill him because he had killed my Count Dooku. And I just could not kill him with Jabba. Both my Holocrons were in the discard pile. I had no cards to do damage with Jabba. So I added in the 2 lightsabers to alleviate that. So then Holocron is just amazing. I don't really need to talk about it. Fast Hands, amazing. Staple card if you're playing yellow. Fast Hands is ridiculous on Jabba. If you get a Fast Hands, you put Fast Hands on Jabba. Because Jabba, you can instantly do the 2 discard or 2 disrupt sides. 2 discard, 2 disrupt, it's ridiculous. It's so strong. Just disrupting your opponent's entire plan for combat, just destroying their resources. Every deck needs resources. I know people say Pomaz doesn't, but that's not true. They like planetaries on the board. Planetaries help them win the game. Just taking your opponent's resources away just means that you're going to be able to Crime Lord safer and more efficiently. And Datapad, my one friend John had told me to add in Datapads when I was first building this deck. I added them in, I was playing them, and I thought they were good, thought they were okay, thought of maybe dropping them, to be honest with you. But then I realized you can resolve specials and then just keep resolving special. Like, you can do this with Crime Lord, and they could not respond to Crime Lord. Like, they could be thinking, oh, well, he didn't roll Crime Lord. That's okay. He didn't roll Crime Lord special. He only rolled Datapad special. That's okay. I still have time to respond to Crime Lord. No. You just resolve specials, go to special, and then resolve that special as well. Just so, so strong. Great card. Blackmail is a one-of. This card has won me games, several games. Fast Hand Blackmail is a thing. That 3 discard and 3 shield side will just add so much value. I've won several games via mill from Blackmail. I have aced in the hold Blackmail in order to win via mill. Just a great card. It's a slow card, and it's only good in certain situations, and that's why I only play 1, but it's strong ends that it warrants the deck space. So as you can see, our curve here is not that good. We got 2 4s, we got 5 3s, and then no 2s, 6 zeros, and 2 1s. So I kind of split this up. You could see like your early game stuff is over here. The Hunker Down, the Holocron, the Fast Hands, and the Datapad. You want as many copies of these in your starting hand as possible. If you can get a starting hand full of these, like a Hunker Down, a Holocron, a Fast Hands, and 2 Datapads, you are so freaking happy. Like, that is the best opener that you could have with this deck. And then, of course, you know, like I said, the curve isn't the best, but the goal of this deck is to not play 2-cost upgrades first turn. Like, you don't need to do that. However, you do want to play the upgrades you have. And a big mistake that I see a lot of people playing this deck is that they just hoard their resources. Do not hoard your resources. Play the upgrades you have in your hand and wait for an opportune moment to Crime Lord. Crime Lord is slow, all right? You're not going to aggressively Crime Lord unless you have fast hands and enough resources. Like, it's a very specific situation. Other than that, playing down an upgrade to help out your Dooku or help out your control game with like Force Throw or Mind Probe. I've paid for Mind Probes. I've paid for Force Throws on Dooku. Don't hesitate. This deck can generate resources. Don't hesitate to do it. So now, guys, let's go over the events. So these are the events that we're working with. Only 13 events. I actually reduced the number of dice control cards I had in this deck in comparison to the Ventress version to make this deck a little bit more aggressive and push out damage more consistently. And since then, it's been working a lot better. Dice removal is super important, and don't get me wrong, like, don't let me make you think that dice removal, you can skimp on it. No, I wish I had more in this deck. However, it's a balancing act, right? Like, this deck is trying to do like 4 things at the same time. So you just need to make sure that you have enough, but you don't have so much that you're not pushing forward a win condition and you're only removing dice. So, of course, we got 2 Electroshocks and 2 Isolations, just staples. I had some people ask me how Isolation was performing. You got Poe, you got Luke, and you got Vader, and they are always going to be in the meta until they nerf Poe. And those are 3 prominent decks that Isolation just takes out. Likewise, Feel Your Anger. I ran this at 2 for a while, but I dropped it down to 1 just because it really shines late game. And there are some matchups like Poe that this card is not good at all. So I dropped it down to 1. It was fine at 1. I do wish I had room for a second one, but it's fine at 1. Enraged is in here, and honestly, I didn't think it was that good until in the Highlander tournament. I managed to Crime Lord a turn earlier, round 5, and won a game because of that. I was 1 resource off, and I managed to have Enraged in my hand and was able to Crime Lord that turn because of it. It's also allowed me to play like Lightsabers, Force Throws, or Mind Probes down naturally a turn earlier than I would have. And I'm telling you guys, like, play those upgrades. Like, it's so strong. Like, I know you want to play them for free for Holocron, but this deck is all about generating resources, so you can do it. Ace in the Hole, in there for Crime Lord, just simply put. You can do it with Blackmail too, but I would not recommend it unless you're up against a wall and you really need that extra dice in your pool. Doubt is amazing. It's a Vibro Knife answer. It's 0 cost, and you don't have to roll out your characters to use it, which is why I like it. Doubt wasn't performing so spectacular in the tournament yesterday, but it still is good for removing Vibro Knife. It still is good in those situations where, like, you know, they roll a 3 damage side and you're just hoping they hit shield or something. It's good. It's solid for 0 resources. And he doesn't like you. Just still great. Just a great card. Roll in Dooku, just remove one of his dice. Roll in Jabba just to get it online. Can't go wrong with 0 cost targeted removal. So now let's go over the strategy and how you're going to win with this deck. Now we're going to go over the strategy and how you're going to win with this deck. Jabba Dooku is just so fun, and like I said earlier, there are many modes of victory with this deck. And a lot of times you actually want to switch the way that you're playing the game mid-game. And I actually did this in the finals match. The finals match of Highlander, I was facing Chewie Rey. And for the longest time, I kept going for Rey first with damage and then trying to Crime Lord Chewie. But then I realized with Second Chance, it was actually a bad choice for me to do that. So then I started focusing Chewie, and that's when I started winning. So we play the Mos Eisley Spaceport battlefield in this deck, and that's just because we can use it, kinda. Like, we can kinda use it, but it's mostly in here just because it's a really, really weak and slow effect, because this deck is so slow. You're really not going to be claiming, except in specific situations when you're facing like Poe Maz or like a red deck that you know wants the battlefield or something like that. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick the opponent's battlefield just because you want the shields, And if they pick your battlefield, it's okay. It's not really going to help either player that much. So in the beginning of the game, they're going to start focusing one of these characters. 9 times out of 10, they're going to focus Jabba. If they don't focus Jabba, your goal, if they don't focus Jabba, is to get Crime Lord on Jabba as fast as possible. My one match that I played, I think it was round 6, they focused Dooku. And because I think I threw an early Holocron on him or something, and he looked like a threat. So he focused Dooku, and turn 1, I dropped Crime Lord on Jabba. And then turn 3 and 4, I did back-to-back Crime Lords on both their characters. This deck is built assuming that they're going for Jabba, and that is why it has the power cards like Lightsaber in here. Like, Lightsaber is in here to push damage to make Dooku a force. That's what it's in here for. So they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to go and kill Jabba first. But if they don't, you play Crime Lord on him. Try to get it on in turn 1. You can do it with this deck pretty easy. But alright, so in the beginning of the game, the most important thing that you're going to need to worry about, well, first of all, you got to make sure you have your little buddy here to help you out. This Flareon here helped me win all my matches, and she was there the whole time with me. So make sure you got your little friend to help you out. And so in the mulligan phase, like I said, kind of in the upgrade section, these are your early game upgrades right here. And you want as many of these in your hand as possible. Now, you do want some dice removal in your hand as well. You want some dice removal. So I would say if you could get 3 of these and 2 dice removals, that would be ideal. Or 4 of these and 1 dice removal. You at least want 1 dice removal in your hand just to answer something nasty. Your goal in the beginning of the game, your goal is to slow down the game. If you can get out of the first round unscathed without taking any damage, you are so better off. Like, you have almost won the game already if you can do that. So if you can, like, get the shields, activate Hunker Down, do something, remove some dice. Yeah, if you can get away unscathed, you are a friggin' happy camper. Cards that you do not want to see in your opening hand. Sometimes I will keep Crime Lord if I draw into it. Depends on the matchup. I may keep Crime Lord. Like, for example, when I face Poe, if I see Crime Lord, I keep it because I know I need to Crime Lord ASAP if I want a chance to beat Poe Maz. I need to be that fast. So I'll keep Crime Lord if I see it. But the other upgrades, like the other 3-cost upgrades in the deck, if you see any of these in your opening hand, just get rid of them. Pitch them. The only way that I will keep the Force powers is if I have Holocron. If I have Holocron, I'll keep a Force Throw or I'll keep a Mind Probe. But I will not keep Mind Probe and Force Throw in hopes I draw Holocron. No, I will just mulligan these back into the deck. You don't have 3 resources to start the game or 4 resources, so there's no reason to keep these cards. Crime Lord is integral to the deck, so that's different. So, okay, so first round. So there are many different modes you can play with this deck. And basically, during the first round, you're going to define what you're doing. So you have tons of refocus. So the tons of refocus on both Jabba and Dooku sides, you can either go for damage, you can go for Crime Lord, or you can go for milling. You can either go for the 2 discard sides on both of these characters. You can go for the 2 damage side on Dooku, or you can just start running the resource train and generation and just do it that way and try to Crime Lord. Alternatively, if you want just a slower start, you could just go for the resource generation. Let's say if I have like a Mind Probe in hand or a lightsaber, I'll just generate enough resources to play that lightsaber down first turn. And so that way next round I can just start rolling in the damage with Dooku. But like I said, you're going to want to pick what you do against certain character decks. So if I see a weak character, like if I see, if I'm facing a 3-character deck, I'm automatically going for damage because I know 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have to kill 2 of those characters via damage. It's very hard for you to get off multiple Crime Lords in a single game, so you know pretty much against a 3-character deck, you're going to be defeating at least 1 or 2 of them via damage. So I try to go in for the damage as early as possible on Dooku. And also kind of, flow with your rolls too. Like if you roll Dooku out and get 2 resources, take those 2 resources. Don't try to go for damage then. This deck has enough options and enough avenues and outs that it can pretty much use whatever it rolls. And that's enough. Its versatility is through the roof. So mid-game, you definitely want to get fast hands on Jabba as fast as possible. It's just so good on Jabba. It puts on so much pressure. So you want to see, if you don't draw it like first turn, you want to see it as fast as possible. Also, the fast hands on Jabba does open up Crime Lord. Because, you know, let's say they are focusing Jabba, for example. And let's say you're just sitting on like 9 resources. I know that sounds crazy, but this deck can get to that point. You draw 2 data pads, you throw down both data pads on Dooku, you start running the resource train. Next thing you know, you have 9 resources and you don't know what to do with it. Just throw down a Crime Lord on Jabba, and just roll him in and hope you roll special to fast hands the special. Basically, I feel like there are three ways you can Crime Lord. You can Crime Lord naturally by playing it down on Jabba. You can ace in the hole it, or you can fast hands Crime Lord. And fast hands Crime Lord is the most safe way to do it. And I've done it several times, and players get so aggravated when you do it because there's no response. There's no response to it. You have 5 resources. You just roll in and fast hands Crime Lord, and that's pretty much it. Then it's just inevitable death. But really, really good there. So fast hands on Jabba, needed. So mid-game, that's when you want to start loading up Dooku. I really don't load up Jabba unless they're going for Dooku. Unless I know they're focusing Dooku, I only play 1 or 2 upgrades on Jabba. Maybe a Datapad, maybe a Blackmail, maybe Crime Lord if I'm in a super special situation. But as soon as you hit mid-game and you know they're going for Jabba, you want to load up Dooku as fast as possible. Multiple data pads. Holocron, Force Throw. Your ideal late game build with him would be probably Force Throw, Mind Probe, Lightsaber. I would say these 3 would be the ideal late game build. Or maybe double Lightsaber instead of Mind Probe. That might be better. But definitely a Force Throw for control, because after Jabba dies, you're going to start running out of dice removal. You're going to start running out of cards in your deck. And then you'll have a lot of dead cards too, because Ace in the Hole Crime Lord can work, and you can definitely do it with Dooku on the board, Dooku only on the board. But it's going to be a lot harder because your resource regeneration is going to be reduced. Your refocus is not going to be as prominent as it is with Jabba. It's just going to be a lot harder. So you're going to want to definitely focus damage as much as possible with Dooku. I won several of my games via damage. I won several of my games via Crime Lord. It's just such a fun deck. I can't wait to show you guys all the matches that we have recorded, and you'll get to see how to, some of the nuances of this deck. But please, don't take my word for it. Go out and build this deck and try it. And I know a lot of people were thinking Jabba Dooku fell out in the meta. I know it was a tier 1 Awakenings deck. They say it fell out because of Vibra Knife, because decks are too fast. I don't think so. I just think I need to make some different deck choices. I made my deck push more damage, and because of that, I can take out Maz, as you'll see in the top 8 match. I can take out Maz very quickly. I can do damage, and this deck can pretty much do anything, people. That's why I love it. It's total Swiss Army knife. So if you like Swiss Army knives, build this deck. Thanks everyone for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And please stay tuned for loads more Destiny content. We have another deck profile video coming. Azareth recorded his Elite Palpatine deck profile video. We'll release that deck video either later this week or early next week. And likewise, we got loads more matches, loads more deck videos. Please subscribe to Random Number Gaming. We'll see you next time.